Dudani. He is an active surgeon, very educated ophthalmologist. When I talked to him about my program, he said, "Why don't you give this a small phrase, empowering for COVID compliance?" So the COVID compliance is Ajay Dudani's brainchild contribution to this program. He will be talking about when to indulge and how much. Over to you, Dr. Ajay.
Yeah, thanks, Malay, for your kind invite. And it's really a pleasure to be a part of this esteemed audience and faculty. So I'll be basically talking that as we are very well aware that the problem of diabetes, 1 in 11 adults are suffering with diabetes worldwide. And almost 80% of these people are in the low and middle class income countries like the developing countries. And more than 93 million people are having some eye damage. And 1 out of 3 living people with diabetes will have diabetic retinopathy. And impact of vision loss on poor is very extreme because it affects the earning capacity and there's loss of dependence and dignity which is required. And the females suffer more if they lose sight with diabetic retinopathy. So it affects at all levels, the psychological level, the physical level, the social level, and loss of independence. Unfortunately, these patients who are losing sight will also have associated problems like stroke, angina, nephropathy, amputation. So I think they require basically a very combined approach with all faculties working together. And the problem now we are facing is gigantic, but by the time we'll reach 2045, there's going to be about a 50% global increase of this problem. And as you can see, the most of the increase, which could be almost 75%, is in the Southeast Asia, where India becomes a part of that. So this is a burgeoning problem which will keep on increasing, And as we are aware that diabetic retinopathy may develop even before the diagnosis of type 2 diabetes, which is the highest percentage of patients. And all types of diabetics have these various stages, especially the vision threatening diabetic retinopathy is almost 10% of the population having diabetes. So briefly, as we are aware that this whole process is, driven by hyperglycemia, leading to retinal ischemia, which leads to VEGF production. So VEGF is the main driver. So today, as the doctor was saying, that if one tool we have to invest in today as a GO, I think the OCT is an indispensable machine, especially which will also help you in your premium IOLs and also pick up various macular pathologies, which can be treated before cataract surgery. So we have basic 2 divisions, non-proliferative and proliferative. 50% of the patients with very severe non-proliferative diabetic retinopathy will progress to PDR within 1 year. And complications associated with PDR lead to irreversible vision loss and a lot of headache for us vitreoretinal surgeons. So basic pathology is a microangiopathy with microvascular occlusion. This is how it looks in histopathology. And these are the various photographs which are showing you the various stages of microaneurysm formation as was shown here. The healthy retina versus the diabetic retina. So you have 3 things here. You have the exudates, which can be soft exudates and hard exudates. Look at the optic disc for neovascularization or pallor. The various hemorrhages which are arising from the blood vessels. So this is the early changes which you can see. So NPDR is about 4 types and PDR is early PDR and high risk PDR. So how do you detect? I think the simplest way to do is direct ophthalmoscopy, which all GOs have in their outpatient department. If they could do an indirect, that would be ideal. I think the first diagnostic thing which a patient with early diabetes will present is with microaneurysms and hard exudates, as was described. And at this stage, the treatment I would like to highlight with every slide is in this patient, if he comes to my OPD, I'll be requesting him for a tight diabetic control first and foremost. He might be having a dyslipidemia, seeing the amount of hard exudates which is there. And then I would do a OCT and decide whether to give injections if there's a center involving macular edema, as I'll show you in my further cases as we go ahead. The angiography will guide me whether it's an ischemic or a non-ischemic, but it's not very necessary. Here again, as you can see that this patient has got, coalescent hard exudates very close to the fovea. So this patient, I would do injections along with focal laser and systemic treatment of his dyslipidemia. Now, this patient progresses to a proliferative stage. So if this patient comes to my OPD with new vessels elsewhere and also macular edema associated here with extensive, cotton wool spots which shows ischemia, I would do a combination therapy of, intravitreal anti-VEGF injections with pan-retinal photocoagulation. This is a very severe patient with an extensive diabetic retinopathy change. In his, the first investigation I will offer him is to do his renal profile, because such a severe extensive hemorrhages with so many hard cotton wool spots is a suggestion of nephropathy related retinopathy. So he might be going into a end stage renal disease or an increased creatinine levels. Now, if this patient presents to my OPD, as was shown in the previous slides, that this shows a patient with PDR with pre-retinal hemorrhages. So again, as per the today's protocol S, we would be doing anti-VEGF injections, which could be either Avastin or ranibizumab, that is bevacizumab or ranibizumab, followed by a tight pan-retinal photocoagulation of 3 sittings, which can be done very rapidly, along with multiple anti-VEGF injections if necessary, to avoid a surgery in this patient. This again patient, as you can see, he's a patient, I would say, of severe NPDR with macular edema, and he would require also anti-VEGF injections with macular, maybe grid laser here, because it's a diffuse diabetic macular edema, and also a mild scatter. Similarly, this patient has a lot of cotton wool spots, so I'll rule out hypertension in him and renal disease, and after doing an OCT, decide whether he requires injection versus observation. This is again showing a very severely ischemic and ocular ischemic syndrome with the extensive cotton wool spots. So you could do a color Doppler to see whether there's ocular ischemia in this patient and rule out internal carotid artery occlusion. Now, the battle of DME, I usually divide it because DME is a multifactorial disease. VEGF is the prime driver, but there are various other, cytokines, like we are aware of, COVID related cytokine storm. So I feel that, diabetic macular edema and diabetic retinopathy is more like a COVID cytokine storm, which is affecting the eye locally. So you would require an anti-VEGF agent, which is Batman, and you would also require Avengers fighting, a group of people who are fighting the various cytokines which are there. And that's where steroid comes in our armamentarium. And for a general ophthalmologist, I think to use intravitreal Kenacort along with the supervision of a retinal surgeon is a very good tool in our armamentarium, which is cheap, which we can suggest to our patients. So in macular edema, you can always expect the unexpected, and you'll have the rebel patients who don't follow up with you, in your OPD. So what will you do for these patients? So most patients, do have resistance to anti-VEGF drugs, and so you have to look at other modalities, which include Ozurdex and intravitreal steroids. So I'll just share with you all some cases which I had, which we treated. So this is a case of a treatment naive DME, a 75-year-old male, 30 years, uncontrolled diabetic, received some laser, some injections, and this is how he came to us, So this is how he presented to us with severe macular edema, and he had been lasered priorly. And we gave him an injection of Ozurdex, and this is the beautiful response we had. So as Dr. Khatri was saying, I think the one gadget to invest in is an OCT, and look at the dramatic response we got with a single injection. But then, as you know, this disease is recalcitrant. It does come back, but it every time does respond to intravitreal injections. He did have also a vitreomacular traction, as you can see here, but then we didn't operate him because he responded beautifully to injections every time. This is another gentleman who was again a 30-year-old diabetic who was being treated with multiple Avastins and laser PRP. And this is how he looked when he presented to me. So you can see there's an extensive laser being done here in this photograph here. There's a central foveal edema here. And this is the other eye also. which was receiving a lot of injections of Avastin. But you can see the cyst which has formed here. It's a resistance cyst which didn't respond to anti-VEGF injections. And this is the dramatic response we got with a single injection of intravitreal steroids of Ozurdex. You can see that there's been adequate laser done here, actually over laser here. And this is the foveal contour coming back with his vision recovering to 612. Similarly, for the other eye also, as you can see, it did respond very well to intravitreal injections. We move to this next case, which we see, post-cataract macular edema is very common in diabetic patients, So again, a general ophthalmologist who's doing cataract primarily will face this situation where his patients are not doing well post-surgically after an excellent cataract surgery, and then OCT will be very helpful. And this is the left eye and the right eye. And this is the excellent response with a single injection of Ozurdex, which we added also macular focal laser to prevent recurrence. But it does recur in these patients, as we are all very aware. Look at this CME with CSME with intraretinal cystoid spaces. But it does respond very well to intravitreal injections and laser, as is shown here. And the foveal contour can come back to absolutely normal in these eyes, But these do tend to recur, as you saw, over time, So you require to babysit these eyes, but unlike AMD, where the treatment is, lifetime, in diabetic retinopathy patients, I've seen that the disease, if you babysit it well enough for 2 to 3 years, the disease does die down with an excellent systemic control if the patient understands the importance. Now, this patient I will share with you all, both eyes DME, who had received multiple injections. So this is his eye. So over time, we have been seeing him 2016, again later. Again, you can see the macular edema coming back. So he was treated, he was very skeptical of more injections. So we've been following up conservatively with NSAID drops and steroid drops. So you can see that when his systemic control is good, the macular edema does respond even to, systemic control, mild focal laser, and you don't necessarily need to give injections. So this is showing you a history of a patient who refused injections over the last 4 years. I have his serial OCTs. This is 2018. And this is a very recent one. You can see here. Last few cases, if you have the time, I'll share with you. This was a teacher who was presented in 2011. So I want to show you a very, 10-year follow-up which we have of these patients who presented like this, was treated with multiple anti-VEGF injections and laser. This is the right eye. And this is how she responded 2011. She gets better. Left eye has similar sort of edema, which responds. The right eye in 2012 almost becomes flat like that. This is in 2021, the right eye and the left eye. So this disease has actually, gone back into remission, and she received multiple injections, and last few injections she received was of Ozurdex, which gave us this beautiful anatomical repositioning of her retina here. This was the last patient I'll share with you all who had a very recalcitrant cyst, as you can see here in this left eye, a macular cyst, which didn't respond very beautifully to Avastins initially, but it used to keep coming back with Avastin. This is how it used to come back, And then again, he responded so beautifully. You can see that the absolute foveal contour has come back beautifully with steroid switch. So you need to, juggle between both the drugs and add laser as and when needed. And this is still his last follow-up. You can see that he's, staying very flat. I'll end with my last case, which we had treated of a giant macular edema, as you can see here. And with a single injection, he responded beautifully and he has remained flat so far. So thank you very much for your kind indulgence. And I would be happy to take any questions. Thank you.
Dr. Dudani, I think your presentation was very nice. And
thanks.
I am also a very great supporter of steroid, and you are so well correlated with your cytokine storm experience with this COVID thing, yeah?
Yeah.